So thank you so much for sitting down for this. I This is the first time I've been able to talk to a seiyu for
Oh
the
yeah.
podcast.
Oh really? Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh
I
cool.
have never gotten to have a seiyu on before. Like lot of voice actors, and I'm from
Mhm.
America. Like I myself am also a voice actor,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no Japanese voice actors. No, so.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you. It's interesting, like how I sort of discovered that you had like a channel.
Mhm.
I was first introduced to your work. Through we watched Asobi Asobase, uh, and
Oh
we thought your character was
really? Mhm.
your performance was so funny, like in that.
Fujiwara-san, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
With the music and the your dialogue, and oh, it was so funny. So we like and I didn't know at the time. I was
Mhm.
like at the time I was like, the English is pretty good, and so I looked up like like which Seiyu is this, like, because the English, when she speaks
Mhm.
English, is like pretty on point. And
Mhm.
then I found out, oh, like it was Shu Uchida, and that
Mhm.
you were from Australia. At the time, I didn't know you were like completely fluent in English.
Oh
I
really?
thought like you maybe, I don't know, were grew up there, but I don't know.
Mhm.
There wasn't a lot of information, so I just go, oh, interesting.
Right.
That's cool. And then I think later on,
Mhm.
I'm a fan of Love Live, and I saw
Oh.
that, there's a character, Mia, who is
Mhm.
American, and then I listened to the song, and I was like, why is the English so good? Like, I was like, the English is like extremely good, and so I looked and I was like, oh my god, shoot, it's the same person, like the same.
Yeah.
And so and then just through that, I saw that you had a YouTube channel, and then
Mhm.
I was like, oh, she speaks English, and I was like, huh. At first, I thought that was awesome, so I just like,
Right.
I think I wrote like, oh, just really liked your channel or whatever. But then
Mhm. Mhm.
later on, I was like, you know, if she speaks English, like, it would be really interesting to talk to her
Mhm.
on the podcast. So I reached out, and
Oh.
you were very gracious enough to say yes. So yeah, that's just sort of like how I found out about you. Now,
Oh wow.
before we go into anything, and just,
Mhm.
it's okay if you have no idea, but did you have any idea who I was before? And it's
To be honest, no.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think when you tweeted about me,
Mm-hmm.
like a notice came to my Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, someone's talking about my YouTube channel. And then I went to your profile and I was like, oh, he's a voice actor from America? And I'm like, ah! And then, yeah. And then that's when I kind of got to know you. I looked
Yeah.
up your YouTube channel and saw some of your videos. And yeah. So I was really surprised.
Yeah, it was just, I also wasn't really expecting a response either, so I was like, oh wow, like that was also surprising for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically just to kind of introduce myself a little bit. Just, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a voice actor as well. Also have
Mm-hmm.
been doing YouTube stuff for a while.
Mm.
And yeah, like, so my primary sort of work is animation and video games. That's where I do.
Oh.
I'm primarily a character actor and for voiceover.
Right, right.
So, and that also has included some dubbing, actually, of Japanese properties as well.
Oh,
So
really?
that includes original
Awesome.
stuff that's made here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then I've also dubbed some anime, and then some
Oh.
Japanese games, like I don't know if you know, how familiar do you know Grand Blue Fantasy?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. Yes, I do.
So they did a fighting
Wow.
game, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I'm one of the voices for the English version in Grand
Oh,
Blue Fantasy.
awesome.
Yeah, and so that's just,
Wow.
so I've had some experience sort of dubbing Japanese
Mm-hmm.
properties, and then so sort of looking at kind of what you've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be primarily like Japanese original content, correct?
Yeah, like animation games. I sometimes do narration, but yeah, like I think it's like similar to what you do. It's more like animation and games and applications like mobile apps
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
And how did you? Because you were born in Australia, and so
I was
or were you
yeah,
not? Or were you not?
I was actually born in Japan.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, there was like there's some confusion out on the internet, but yeah, I was born in Japan, but then I came to Australia when I was I think 1.5 years old or like 2 years old around that time.
I see.
Yeah, and then I grew up in Australia, and then I came to Japan when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been living in Australia for how long? Like 16, 17 years?
Okay. And were you? Did you move to Japan for work opportunities, like, or was it just a natural move with your family?
Well, I
Or
wanted
both,
to become.
or
Oh no! I came to Japan alone.
okay.
And I came to Japan because I wanted to become a voice actor in Japan, and so yeah, I came here and I went to like voice acting school and yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. So I assume then that you grew up, speaking Japanese, with your family, and so when it came time to become like pursue voiceover, was there any consideration for like the going like into English voiceover at all, or was it specifically I want to get into the Japanese voice acting industry?
Well, I wanted to go into the Japanese voice acting industry, but because my parents are from Japan, and then they know how kind of like how hard that industry is. They were kind of like, you're more used to speaking in English. Wouldn't it be better if you go into the English voice acting industry? But yeah, I don't know. Personally, I had this really. I felt this connection with like Japan, and then I was like, I really like Japanese animation, so I was like, I want to be part of that Japanese animation, and because I grew up in Australia, and I don't know, I didn't really get a chance to go back to Japan when I was like small, so
I
you
see.
know, yeah, I felt that I really wanted to go into the Japanese seiyuu industry. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Like, my parents were really against it, but I kind of like...
how do they feel
pushed
about it
forward.
now?
Well, now they're like, oh, we're like cheering for you and we hope you do good, blah, blah, blah.
I had a similar experience with my parents.
Oh,
where,
really?
I've talked about it on the podcast before, but basically, my parents didn't know I was interested in voiceover, and when I finally told them, because the whole time they're like, "Are you gonna get like you gonna go to graduate school, or are you gonna go like?" And then I was like, "No, I finally I told them, and then my dad was supportive actually in that. If this is what you really want to do, then you should go for it. My mom was like, "Are you sure? Okay, well, we'll try your best." But now, like maybe similar to your parents, they're both very like, "Yeah," and I'm like, you weren't necessarily this way in the beginning, but I'm grateful that you're supportive. And so you decided to because you were a fan of, and so so that means you were familiar with the seiyuu industry then even beforehand. What was your introduction to? I guess two questions here. What were your favorite sort of anime or growing up, and are you still a fan of anime now?
Okay, so I grew up watching, Bleach and Naruto. And the animation that really made me want to become a voice actor was watching Bleach.
Okay.
And yeah, and then there's this character called I don't know how to say it in English. Hitsugaya?
Oh, Hitsugaya, yeah, the white-haired little kid. Yeah.
So in the Japanese animation, he's voiced by a female voice actor.
Romy Park.
Park, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, a female can like voice act a a male character, and then I was really fascinated, and then I kind of got interested in voice acting there, and then
I see.
yeah, and then I slowly started getting more interested into anime and voice acting. And yes, I'm still a fan of animation, and I watch a lot of anime.
Any
on Netflix and
recent
stuff.
favorites? Anything that you particularly enjoy that are like more recent?
Recently my manager introduced me to My Hero Academia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've been watching that like for the past few weeks, and I've been really into it.
Yeah.
Any of your favorite animations?
Are you familiar with Chihaya Furu?
Oh yeah, I love it.
That's my favorite.
Karuta.
That's my favorite anime
yeah.
actually.
Oh really?
I love that show. For me, it's Chihaya Furu is one of my favorites. Do you know Monster? Naoki Urasawa. It's an older one. But that one's
really?
it's like a sort of thriller mystery one. Mushishi.
Oh yeah, I know.
I
that
love
one, yeah.
Mushishi. One that's very big in America that I still relive is Cowboy Bebop. I love Cowboy Bebop.
That's really famous.
And then like a couple others like Silver Spoon. Do you know Silver Spoon?
Oh, the Japanese name, Gin no Saji.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
That one,
Okay.
and the one that I've also been enjoying on a rewatch is Sound Euphonium or Hibike Euphonium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I as you can tell, I watch a lot of anime, and I'm very passionate about it, and that also has translated to me being very interested in seiyuu as well. Like not only do I like watching anime, but I pay attention to the performances. This was even before I became a voice actor. Like
Really?
I just was interested in, I would recognize certain seiyuu voices and go, oh, that person is this person, and oh, like that sort of thing. And it's funny, like if we're watching an anime, I can like hear a voice, and somebody will ask me, who's that, and I go, oh, that's so and so, and I know that's that person is in this and this, like that sort of thing.
Right.
Going back to, so you had an interest in anime, and then how did you get to know about, like, so you moved to Japan to become a voice actor, and how do you get your start? I'm so curious to hear. Like, do you join? You said you joined a school.
Yeah. So because I think most people who attend voice acting school, they come from like a family in Japan, right? Like, they live in Japan already, and then they apply to that school. And then most voice acting schools in Japan have an audition. And then so you have to go to that audition, and then if you pass, you can like start attending. And so when I was taking the auditions, I was actually still living in Australia.
Okay.
And so I was kind of, I was lying to my mom that I was going to Japan for holidays.
I see.
And then I went to Japan for like, I think around a week. And then during that week, I took like so many different auditions. And I what was really interesting was that the schools had really never seen anyone wanting to come to the school from overseas.
Okay.
So, they asked me questions like, what are you planning to do if you pass? Or like, are you going to, move to Japan or not? And then at that point, I was really like, I was like, if I do pass, then I'm going to like, start living in Tokyo. So I took a lot of auditions, and then I passed, I think I passed one of them. And the school was called Profit, and so I started going to that school. I got rejected by some schools because I lived overseas, and
see.
probably they didn't know if they were gonna. They probably didn't know if I was actually gonna, move to Japan to like go to that school. So yeah, so I passed the audition, and then I started going to the school there, and yeah, that's how I kind of started attending school. But
Gotcha. That's very interesting. Like hearing about, because I knew that there were voice acting schools in Japan. We have nothing like that here. Like there's
yeah, same with
yeah.
Australia.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
very, I feel like, unique to, I think, Japan, right? I don't know if a lot of other countries have like schools dedicated specifically to voice acting. Like maybe like classes you might, like one class you might take in your college, but that's so interesting. Like the sort of the way that voice acting is perceived in Japan versus, let's say, America. In Japan, it's almost viewed as like kind of like its own version of being a celebrity, right? If you're big enough.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
very interesting because that's not the way it is in America. In America, it's definitely, even, if you're in the biggest stuff or whatever, unless people are super fans, like you still are pretty anonymous in terms of your identity, and who people are not going to like mob you on the street or whatever unless they really know who you are.
Right.
But in Japan, it's like, there's almost this, what you have to do, like, kind of stuff outside of acting, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
so
TV appearances and radio stuff. And it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
well, like I think the Japanese seiyuu industry was like it was similar to the American industry like I think 10-20 years back. But then recently, like we've been having to go on like magazines or like television shows and stuff like that. So it's becoming more of a like a what is it like a what is it?
Like a variety show, or like
Yeah.
like a similar to how like in Korea they have like K-pop stars, right?
Yeah. You have
so-
to like sing, you have to like dance,
Yeah.
you have to be good at like talking, and yeah, there's all these things that you need to be able to do. So yeah.
That's so interesting. So in voice acting school, what are some examples of like things they teach you?
They teach you like tongue twisters, and they teach you like how to like project your voice properly, and then they teach you. I think these like the stuff that they teach you depend on like what school you go to.
I see.
But yeah, they also teach you like exercises and like how to build muscle to be able to project your voice properly and stuff like that. When you go like into like your second year, they teach you like how to use the mic. I think this part of like the voice acting is really different to the American voice acting, but you know how in Japan they use like 4 mics,
Yeah.
and then there's like all the like how like in one studio there's like 10-15 voice actors, and they like use that mic between
Yes.
themselves, and
Yes.
yeah, so we kind of learn how to like use that mic with like different kinds of people, if that makes sense.
Wow. Okay. I've seen behind the scenes videos of how you guys do it, and it's so interesting to me because it is very different than how we do it. So with that process of like, because when I see it, I'm like, that seems very complicated. Like, was it difficult to get a grasp on how to like do that properly? And well, I guess my question is, were there any things that you like struggled with at the time as you were learning them?
Yeah, I think at school, everyone's like, everyone's equal with you. Like, so like you guys, so the people in your class are like, the people in your class. So you don't really have to think about the senpai, kohai,
okay.
that kind of, what is it like?
Sort of the way of greeting, like honorific sort of, or like not honorific, but just you are all kind of on the same level. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So you learn how to use your mics with the people of the same, like, I don't know how to say it in English, but like, you learn with the people in your class, but when you actually go into the industry, there's obviously like senpai and there's kohai, and then like you have to really be careful with your senpai, because if your senpai wants to go into a particular mic, then you can't like go into the same mic as your senpai.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so you have to be the one like being aware that, this senpai is going to go into this mic and this other senpai is going to go into that other mic, so I need to go into this mic, and there's a lot of things you need to think about when you go into a studio. So
And do they tell you like in advance, or is it you just have to sense it? You have to
you just have to sense it.
Wow, that's very interesting. The closest thing I think we have to that is, so there's different ways of recording here. Like if you're dubbing something, like if it's like an anime that's a different language, and then that involves like you're usually alone, almost always. You're alone in the booth and you're watching the footage, and then I don't know if they do beeps for you, like three beeps? Does that sound familiar to you at all? Okay, so
No.
in dubbing, it's very common for every line you have to dub in English. They have these three beats. It goes boop, 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 and then on the fourth silent beat, that's when your line starts. That's when your line starts, and that's when you try to say your line so that it fits in the mouth flaps of the character of the line. So it's like every line you listen to the original Japanese line, and then they say, "Okay, you ready? Beep, beep, beep," and then say the line. Say it in English. You're reading English script, trying to fit it into the mouth flaps. And so that's how dubbing works for us, and then for even a lot of video game work, it's still solo. Like you're almost always like alone in a booth. But the closest thing to how you guys work is animation. If sometimes you get to like have maybe 4 or 5 actors in the studio at the same time, but each actor has their own microphone, and there's no moving around really. Like you just stand in front of your microphone only. You have your own stand for your script, and that's basically it. You don't move from that spot. Yeah, so it seems, from my perspective, it seems much more simpler, right? Just, give everybody a microphone. But it's interesting because as I'm watching how you guys do performance, it almost feels like a play, almost like a live play. Because how long will an average scene go before they say like cut?
It goes for around 15 minutes.
Wow.
So like, you know how animation, they have like they have 15 minutes and they have like an ad or something like that, and then they have the next 15 minutes. So we take the first 15 minutes and then we take a break and then we take the next 15 minutes.
You just go through the whole thing without stopping?
Yeah, we just go through the whole thing. Wow. And usually, so like what happens is when you go into a studio and the recording starts, we have this thing called test.
Okay.
And then so we do like one round of like that whole 15 minutes, and that's like a test. So the director and the staff can see what kind of acting you do, and then the people in the studio can kind of work out which microphone they need to use.
I see. Okay.
And so and then so after like 1 or 2 tests, usually it's like 1 test, but we do like this thing called honbang, which is like the real recording time.
Okay.
And then so from then the honbang is like the legit thing. So like everyone needs to be quiet, and then we just take the whole 15 minutes, and then.
What if you make a mistake? That's like what happened? Do you just keep going as if it didn't happen, or do you stop and re-record? Like what happens?
Well, you just keep going.
I see.
And then at the end, when we take after the 15 minutes are taken, then we just take that one line that's like.
You go back and you fix anything that was mispronounced or something like that.
Yeah.
But normally, then does that mean that there's almost no mistakes, like, or very few mistakes when you're doing it?
Yeah, usually like for example like senpais, like all the people who've been doing it for like 10, 15 years, like they make like no mistakes at all. So like you know, they're like all like perfect.
That's so amazing to me. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That because that's also very different from how. So even like for cartoons or and also if you know already how this works, you can tell me. Like I hope I'm not just giving you information
Oh
about
no,
stuff
I
you
don't,
already know.
I don't know anything
Oh,
about,
okay,
yeah.
got it. So
Yeah.
like if you're alone, you have all the time you want because usually you go just line by line, right? Or like a
Right.
scene, like so you're just and is that similar? Like if it's a let's say for like if you're recording for a video game or mobile game, are you alone in that case?
Yeah, for
Okay.
games, you're usually alone. Some games you take with like, you know, the other what is it? The other voice actors as well, but most of the time you're alone and you're just, you know, in this booth.
And so they just kind
by
of go line by
yourself
line, right?
recording.
Line by line, and you do like maybe a couple takes each, or
Yeah.
yeah. So that's pretty much the same as us. But
Mm.
for cartoons, like usually how it's done is we do not do the 15 minutes. It'll be at most maybe like one scene, right? Like one like I don't know, a couple like maybe like one maybe a page, right? And you just you go down like each person goes through it and it's not done necessarily like live like you're watching something because you're usually are you watching finished
Yeah.
animation or pre-animation or both when you're
We're
performing?
we're watching both. It depends on the animation, but sometimes it's like pre-animation stuff, and sometimes it's like, you know, all finished up and
Okay.
yeah.
To me, the idea of having the actors go for 15 minutes is so impressive to me because
Really?
if we did that way, we'd mess it up so like, it's like it's just we are so used to like anytime you make a mistake, you just immediately do it again. Like you just like yeah, like so even if there's a scene like and we're going like we're all taking turns saying our lines, if somebody messes up a line, you just stop and you just restart the line. Like that's it. Because the editor will do all the you know taking it together.
Right.
And then you just usually just do, and sometimes you'll do the scene like over and over, just like all right, we'll do maybe this scene 3 times through, and yeah, and they or we'll go line by line, and it's like what we call, some people say like ABC take or AB take, like give me a 2 A and B. You just do 2 takes for each line, and go on and go on. So, because I had known that in Japanese for Seiyu that it was like almost like a performance. Because I don't know if you're familiar with the anime Shirobako.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have
they
you
have
seen
some,
it?
Like I have.
Yeah, there's like scenes where they Seiyu work, and it's so, because I love learning
Right.
about that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. But I didn't know it was 15. Oh my god, that's. So I assume then that it's just due to your training then from school, right? School and just
Yeah.
experience over time. Because for me, that's the closest thing we have to that is are you familiar with like motion capture? Like
Yeah.
So in motion capture, that's like that's almost like a play where you're dressed up in the motion capture suits with the dots
Right.
on it, and you have to memorize your lines completely, and
Right.
that isn't its own like thing. That's the closest thing I think to what you guys do, but that's wow. So
Well, what's really fascinating is that like because we're recording for the whole like say 10, 15 minutes, like you can't have your script. You know how like when you like flip over to the next page, it makes
makes a
that
sound.
paperish sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can't make that paperish sound in front of the mic. And so you have to really be careful when you're flipping the page because, say, if your senpai's talking and then you flip the page and that makes a sound, that's going to be a retake. So
yeah.
you have to like flip it really slowly, and like clothes as well. You have to like wear clothes that doesn't really make much sound.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's really
we
interesting.
follow those rules too about the clothes. The pages are usually not an issue for us because again, it's just there was a sound. Just do it again. But wow, it's so I'm still can't stop thinking about the 15-minute takes. Now, you is before you got in the industry, or maybe even during the industry, like, did you have any favorite seiyuu that you like looked up to or really admired their work?
Yeah, I have quite a few.
Sure. Who were some of them?
I really liked Sawashiro Miyuki.
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I also liked Tamura Yukari.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And oh, there's so many. I liked Hanazawa Kana.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, and for male actors, I really liked Fukuyama Jun-san, Lelouch from
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Proteus.
yeah. Sorry. Say
Yeah.
that. Say his name again.
Fukuyama Jun.
Fukuyama Jun. Yes.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's Lelouch. He's in Persona 5. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. And there's so many that I like admire or like look up to.
Mm.
But yeah, I had like before I came into this industry, I had all these like posters of them up on my room. And yeah.
Have you gotten to meet anyone like any like that you really anyone that you really admired and like while you've been working?
While I've been working, I was able to work with like this huge senpai called Otsuka Akio
Ah, yes.
and Otsuka Hochu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
Legends.
legends,
Yeah.
And so I was able to work with them in this animation called Alice to Zoroku.
Okay.
Alice
okay.
and Zoroku. I think.
Okay.
I don't
Oh.
really know the English name, but
Okay. Okay. Let me look it
Yeah.
up. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, this looks really cute.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm the twin-tailed the ponytail, no, not ponytail, twin-tail pigtail.
Okay.
Pig-tailed girl.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, and so I was able to work with them in that animation, and they were just I don't know, they were just really their acting and how nice they were, and
Oh wow.
there was just everything about them was like, oh wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I because I'm a big nerd, I know all the names you have mentioned,
Same.
and like I've only gotten to meet a couple seiyuu like in person, just from
Wow,
like guesting
Japanese seiyuu?
Japanese seiyuu.
Oh wow.
Because I've often done guesting at conventions.
Right.
Is that a thing in Japan? Not really, right? Or do seiyuu do guest appearances at conventions?
We don't really have this, like, there are conventions, but it's more like we call them events.
Okay.
And then so it's not like the kind of conventions you'll see in like America or like Australia. It's like more of like a promotion event where like the animation team go to this event to promote the animation that they've made, and then the main voice actors go to that event and they talk about the animation and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it's a little bit different to what you'll see in America or Australia, but yeah, we do have
I
events
see.
that we go to. Yeah.
Yeah, in America there are a ton of conventions like dedicated
Right.
to anime, video games, and so it's pretty common for a lot of voice actors, myself included, to be guests at them, and also actually a lot of seiyuu will actually come from overseas to be guests as
Right.
well, and so I was very fortunate to meet. There was a con in Canada where I was a guest, and I was able to meet Yamaguchi Kape
Wow.
and Yukino Satsuki.
Oh, wow.
Because they were there for Inuyasha panels, and I was like starstruck.
I would be too if I met
Yeah, I
them.
was so like I'm a fan, and it's funny. Like later, I actually was fortunate to dub a role of Yamaguchi Kappei's in a show called Radiant. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it before. Yeah.
There's a little like cat character he voices in that I voice, and so like one day if I ever get to meet him again, I want to be like, hey, just I'm so honored that I got to like share a role with you or anything. But those are the two I think that stick to my mind of Sei that I've gotten to meet. Well, now including you in a way, I've gotten to meet you as well. But before I pepper you with even more questions, I like to give the guest actually an opportunity. Is there any topic you would like to bring up, or a question for me, or anything, whatever If not, I still have plenty of things to talk about. But I'm just curious.
I'm really curious about how you guys take, when you guys take animation, it's usually like you take it by yourself or like maybe like another person, but when there's like a scene where like two characters are saying the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Like for us, like we have the like we're in the same studio.
Sure.
So like, we just say like we use our breath. We go like, and then we say the line. But
I see.
I'm just wondering how you guys, say
do
the
that.
lines
Like if they're
together.
talking in unison. So how
Yeah.
we do it is if we're not actually, I don't know even if we were in the studio if we would do it together. Probably. If we were in studio together, I think they would record it at the same time. But if not, which is usually the case, then what happens is, because I've had to do this, and I've also had to like sing like here, like, but no one else was there. But it's like,
Right.
so what you if you're the first person to do it, you get to choose the timing. So it's like if the script says like the three characters all say this, if I'm the first one who's come in to record, I say it, and then they record it, and then for the next person they play my audio for them. For like so like okay, this is how he said it, match that tempo, and that's how they do it. Same thing for singing, like it's been a thing where I'm the first one to have to sing this part in the song, so I just sing it without. And then sometimes if another person has sung first, I get to hear their take as I'm doing it. So they basically just play it for you, and then you do it that way.
So it's like how we do it when we record games.
Yeah,
like
pretty
we do
much,
the same thing. Yeah, right. Wow.
I also
'Cause,
feel like oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, because how like there's like COVID and stuff like that. So like now we're recording with like like what is it like sleep. Oh, my English. With like lesser people.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So like
sure.
usually we had like 10, 15 people, but now there's like max 3 or 4 like people in one booth.
Sure.
And what happened was like I went to this recording once, and like there was say 3 people in one booth, but in this like in the one building there's like say like 4 different studios. And so what they did was they linked the 4 studios, and they had 3 voice actors in each studio taking the same animation at the same time.
I see. Okay.
And yeah, and then what I thought and what other voice actors thought was really hard was being able to say the same lines together. Because if you're in the same booth, then you can kind of like see how the person next to you is moving.
Yeah.
Or like you can hear them breathe, or like that kind of stuff. But with being in separate studios, you can't really do that. So yeah, I was just really curious.
So were you like doing it over like a call, or you could see each other just through different, like through glass, or how was this set up? I'm a little confused. Was it?
It was like totally different studios. So like I don't know if like the studios in America are the same like are the same as Japan, but like in one building there's like say like 3-4 studio booths.
Okay.
And so there's 2 studios on the first floor, and then there's another 2 studios on the second floor.
Sure.
And then so I don't know how they link the studios together, but we had this little tablet in front of us, and then you'll be able to see all the studios. I think webcammed or like, you know.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but we couldn't really see each other clearly because they were just showing the whole studio, not every single person's face, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So webcams were connecting the 4 studios. Okay, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because how COVID has affected our side of things is either if it's a studio that is approved, then you can go into the studio and you just have to wear a mask, and you know there's like they clean it and very few people are there, like you're describing, like only like the engineer, the director doesn't even go in. They're usually they're usually in like a call, you know, like a Zoom call or a Skype call. Like they're usually like you hear them. And it's just you and the engineer. That's it. It's either that right now or a lot of stuff we've been recording from home. So meaning we had to like, you know, some I had my own setup already. Like I already have my microphone I'm using right now is professional quality, so I can use it for recording, and I have my own very sloppy setup of just getting everything to work to make it sound fine. But other actors who didn't have that had to go they had to like figure out their closets, like, you know, make sort of temporary booths in their homes. And it's been a really really interesting how it sort of changed things. Like for me, I hate working from home. Because, you know, I think, you know, because you have to do your own engineering. You have to make sure everything sounds fine. But so whenever I am able to, I always go into the studio because for me it's a headache to have to do it from home. But I've had to record stuff from home like as well, and it's been a very interesting change in the industry. But hopefully as things get better here, we'll slowly be transitioning back to how things were. Now, have you ever been to America?
No, I haven't. I really want to go.
Yeah.
And my manager really likes America, so she's like, I really want to go to New York, and you know, I'm like, I want to go to America too. So like, yeah, hopefully.
Where in America would you want to go if you like? Which states are you the most excited about?
I really want to go to New York. I think that's like, you know, like where everyone wants to go. But,
it is great. It is a very cool city.
I really want to see Broadway.
Yeah.
The Broadway theaters. And like just go around the streets, and I've only seen like America through like dramas and like movies. But I want to eat a hot dog or like a bagel from the stores.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like small stores on the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. New York bagels are really good. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really want to eat bagels.
I would say whenever you get the chance to go to New York, get New York pizza. New York pizza.
New York pizza.
New York is very famous for its pizza. Their bagels are quite good. And even just like a hot dog from one of the street carts. That's classic.
Okay.
But yeah, Broadway is also great. If you ever get the chance to go to a Broadway show, it's really amazing. But now kind of veering back to Australia, is there anything you miss about Australia that you don't have in Japan?
There's a few things I miss. One of them is the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like in Japan, well, especially in Tokyo, you have to go all the way to like Chiba to see like a beach.
Yeah.
Say from Tokyo, it takes you around an hour or like say an hour and a half to get to Chiba. And then usually you have to go there by car, so you need someone to be able to drive a car to get you there.
Yeah.
But in Australia, you just say like you ride a bus, say 10, 15 minutes, and you're already at a beach. And yeah, and what was really amazing in what like the differences that I thought was amazing was in Japan, a lot of the sand there is like gray in color.
Oh, okay.
It's like not like, you know, in Australia the beaches, the sand is like white.
Yeah.
Or like say cream colored, but in Japan it's usually like gray or like a little bit browny.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I miss that part of Australia. I also miss the coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, like Australia, there's a lot of places where you can buy like espresso coffee, and you know they put like milk in it and make like cappuccino or something like that. But in Japan, there's a lot of drip coffee.
Okay.
I'm like a coffee mania, so it's like
Sure.
But yeah, you can't really find much places in Japan where you can find like espresso coffee. It's usually just drip coffee.
I see.
And so yeah, I miss that part of Australia. And what else do I miss? I miss some of the greens, like there's so many trees in Australia. But especially in Tokyo, there's a lot of buildings, so
Sure.
unless you go to like a big park, you can't really see many trees.
I see.
And so I guess that's what I miss. And oh, I miss cereal.
Cereal, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss cereal. Yeah, I don't know if this is the same with America, but like Australia has like so many different types of cereal.
Oh, we have lots of cereal too. We have a lot of sugary cereals, a lot of
Yeah.
Is there like a particular cereal you're like, oh, I would kill for this right now? Like I want
I'm killing for Cheerios.
Cheerios, yeah.
Cheerios,
Just regular Cheerios or any?
Just regular Cheerios.
Wow, regular Cheerios. I
Yeah,
didn't think about that. That Japan. Yeah, that's not really a thing in Japan, right? Cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because for breakfast everyone just eats either bread or rice.
Right.
So like not many people eat cereal.
That's so interesting. Just good old fashioned Cheerios, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if they have this in America, but do they have like Nutri-Grain?
Nutri-Grain.
It's like this brown cereal, and it's like maybe they just sell it in
we
Australia,
have Nutri-Grain. When I think of Nutri-Grain, I think of we have like Nutri-Grain bars. I'm looking it up. It's different. It's completely different. In America, Nutri-Grain is a cereal. It is a cereal, but it's a breakfast bar. That's what I thought of when you said Nutri-Grain.
Oh,
and you guys have it. They look like bricks.
Yeah, they look like bricks.
Okay.
It's like brown and they have like holes in them.
Oh, that's not what ours is. Let me show you. I'm going to show you a picture of what ours looks like. So when I think of a Nutri-Grain, because I was like, that's kind of a cereal, but it's they look like this. It's like a bar with like fruit fillings. Like that's Nutri-Grain. But I look at yours and they're like little brown brick pellets.
Yeah.
Are they good?
They taste really good.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it looks like bricks, but it tastes really good.
Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say I have a friend, a very close friend who lives in Australia, and so I want to visit there one day to visit him, and I actually have family in Australia too. Funnily enough.
Really?
Yeah, my dad's sister, my aunt, my oldest aunt. Her family they lived in Australia for a long time. All the kids have accents like Australian accents. So
like mine.
yeah. So it's I've always wanted to go because I love traveling and I love trying like different like foods in different countries and Australia.
Same.
Like it's funny. Somebody sent me a big box of Australian snacks, and it was all Tim Tams and
Tim Tams.
Shapes. You know Shapes.
Oh yeah, Shapes. I
It
love
was like
Shapes.
all the different flavors of Shapes, all the different flavors of Tim Tams, and you know every time I talk to my friend from Australia about stuff. he always talks about things, and we go, "You're lying. That's not a real thing." Like he'll say, "Is it rice bubbles? Rice bubbles?"
Oh yeah, rice bubbles.
So that's not what we call them. We call them Rice Krispies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so when he says rice bubbles, I like burst out laughing. I was like, "What are rice bubbles? Rice bubbles?" Like I think a lot of Australian names for stuff or names for snacks just sound so much more whimsical, like more like fun, like rice bubbles. Like what are rice bubbles? And I was like, "Oh, they're just Rice Krispies." Trying to think of some other ones. There was okay. What is the name for... Do you know what a popsicle is?
Oh, yeah.
What do you call them in Australia? There's something...
Paddle pops?
Paddle pops? I don't think I heard that one.
Really?
What are... Is it ice lollies? Is that a thing? No.
Oh, ice lollies. Ice candy? Ice lollies.
Maybe? Oh, what was it? Ice... It was something
what
where I
was
was
it
like,
called?
what are you talking about? Ice lollies. Oh, yeah, there's ice lollies and there's something else. I forget. But we were just, like, you know, I feel so bad for him because me and a lot of American friends are just laughing. Like, what is that? Like, you know, but so I can't wait for him to have revenge one day when I visit and all his Australian friends can make fun of us not using the metric system and doing all these things. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. Your ability to speak English, have you met any other Seiyu who actually can speak English, like either on your level or at least like fluently? Have you encountered any other Seiyu who have that level of English in Japan? Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
I think a lot of the seiyus in Japan don't really know how to speak English. I know some, like I know there's like there's a voice actor similar to my age who's from America and who can speak English fluently, but I've never met her before.
Are you talking about Sally Amaki?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's very... Yeah, she became very, very well known because of I think a live stream she did where she...
Oh, really?
Because she... I think at the time nobody knew she really spoke English, and then she did a live stream and people were asking her like questions in English, and she was... I don't know if you are familiar with like memes or no.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So she was like, it was clear that she was very much like not only fluent but like knew about memes and that sort of thing. And so I think that was a big sort of discovery for American fans. Like, oh wow, there's a Seiyu who can speak English. So that's interesting. I was just wondering if that like ever came up, like if how proficient or whatever that Seiyu were in English, because I know their English is taught in schools, but only on a basic level, right? Like nothing too complex.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of Japanese people know how to like read and write, but I think speaking they're a bit like they're not as proficient. You know, yeah. But yeah, so like I've known Sally Amaki. I've known her for a while, but I've never been able to talk to her. So if I do ever get a chance, I want to try and talk to her in like English.
Yeah. I'm sure it'd be like a nice change of pace for you.
Yeah.
Of like,
yeah.
Very interesting. And I guess just as we're kind of wrapping up, are there any, let's say, goals you have, whether it's like maybe working with this person or that person, or on something of this, like something like this or that, like, or just even personal goals? Like, do you have any sort of goals for yourself for the future?
At the moment, I have two. One of them is I really want to meet Tetsuya Kakihara. Do you know him? Oh,
yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also, a voice actor who's come from overseas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, he came to Japan when he was like around 17 or 18 as well. So, I really want to get to meet him to, ask him all these stuff about, how he felt when he came to Japan for the first time and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because he was one of the reasons why I ever thought of going to Japan from Australia to become a voice actor. So, yeah, that's one of my goals. And another one of my goals is obviously I want to be in more animation and games, but I want to be able to go around the world and, attend different kinds of conventions and yeah, and then if I ever do get to do that, then I want to eat the foods from different countries.
Yeah.
And, go to like, restaurants and like eat street food and experience a lot of stuff. And
have you been to any other countries besides Australia and Japan?
I've been to Korea.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I went. Oh, this is really funny because I went with my friend, my voice actor friend, called Mayu Sagara. She's also in Niji, and at the time we were talking about going overseas, but like for Japanese voice actors, especially when you're like just into that industry, it's really hard to get like a few days off because you don't know when your job comes in.
Sure.
And so we were like we want to go, but we couldn't really see when we can go. And then what happened one day was she asked our manager if we had any days off like in the recent in the next few weeks. And then my manager was like, oh, you have a day off from today till like 3 days later.
Yeah.
And then so she asked me on that day, hey, do you want to go to Korea like from today?
Okay.
And then so like we booked tickets and we like booked hotels on that day, and then we flew there. And so yeah, that was really fun.
So was it Seoul primarily, I imagine? Or
yes, it was Seoul.
And what did you do? Because I actually have been able to visit my family in Seoul like a couple of years ago, actually.
Wow.
Because I a couple of years ago I did a trip where I took my mom went to Seoul to visit her family, and I went as well with my wife, and we visited Seoul, and then we took my mom and my brother to Tokyo for the first. We had never been to Tokyo for the first time. I've been to Tokyo twice now, but that was my first time I had ever gone. So what did you do in Seoul?
Well, because we went there without planning anything, when we got to the hotel, we like searched up what we can do, and most of the time we went walking around the streets. We ate street food, and we also went shopping. We did a lot of shopping. Like we went shopping for cosmetics and like clothes, and my friend went massaging.
Any particularly good foods you remember, like from your trip?
Well, my friend couldn't eat any spicy foods, so we had to not eat anything spicy. But the bibimbap there was like, oh, it was so good. Like, and you know how when you go to a Korean restaurant, they have like the vegetables that come out before
banchan,
you order.
Yeah, the side dishes.
That was so delicious. and Korean stores in Japan, they don't refill those for free.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But in Korea, like once that plate is empty, they like come refill it for you.
yeah.
Like, and then you don't even have to ask them, and they just come and like refill like the kimchi and the vegetables for you. So I thought that was really interesting.
That's interesting.
I was eating so much kimchi.
Because even in America, the Korean restaurants, they give you free banchan no matter what. Like,
really?
Oh yeah. Like in fact, for me as a Korean, if a restaurant doesn't give free banchan, I'm like, why would I go there? Like how dare they? That is the bottom line. You must give free banchan. That's our culture. That sort of thing. But I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed the banchan and the bibimbap.
Yeah, it was really fun. I want to go there again.
Yeah, well, if you ever find yourself in America in the Los Angeles side of things, it would be my pleasure to maybe take you to some food at some point if you are interested in food. My wife and I love to like go around and trying different restaurants and stuff. So I think there's like a lot of crossover in our food like interests as well.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, so that we're pretty much at the end of it. Like I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat.
Thank you too.
It
was really nice.
I hope I didn't pepper you with too many questions, but for me, I was
no.
I was just so interested to hear about, especially like how voiceover works in Japan versus here. To me, that's endlessly fascinating. So I appreciate you taking the time to answer the questions. Now, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter. You can find me at @Uchida UCHIDA_SHU0524. And that's my Twitter there. I also do YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called ShuTube, and I think if you look that up on YouTube, it should come up right away. If not, it's on my Twitter as well, so you can take a look from there.
Yeah, and your videos have been very entertaining. I've been watching them, and it's go check out